Sam Seder, Emmer Vigeland on the Majority Report. Joining us now, two members of the Princeton University Gaza Solidarity Encampment, currently on hunger strike, David and Rosangela. To welcome to the program to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Rosangela, let's start with you. What's been the situation at Princeton?
So I guess that's a really large question, but we first began our encampment in a different area from where we are right now. Two students were arrested within the first 5 minutes of setup. We had a really great turnout, and over a few days, administration just made it clear that they were not going to listen to any of our demands or even sit down with us. So then some of our students escalated to a sit-in in Clio Hall. At that point, 13 students were arrested. And again, community just came out, became stronger and stronger after each attempt at repression by the university. And then we moved our camp. We've had quite a bit of problems with the administration, but overall holding strong. Then we began our hunger strike.
And what are your demands? Sorry, just to get people so they know exactly what the Princeton encampment, the divestiture demands are for the university.
Yeah, so on the level of our hunger strike, we have three demands. The demands for the hunger strike to end. The first is that the university have a meeting with representatives from the Divest campaign to discuss disclosure and divestment. The second and third are that the university drop legal and disciplinary charges against the students that have been arrested so far. The broader Divest campaign has a goal of essentially, delinking from certain institutions, such as study abroad programs in Israel that Princeton is affiliated with. It also wants the university to build affiliations with Palestinian institutions without having those Palestinian institutions be required to affiliate with Israeli institutions. And also, starting to disclose what Princeton is actually invested in so that there can be an honest conversation around campus about divestment from companies that are invested in the occupation. So there's a financial level and there's also an academic and cultural dimension to divestment that we're asking for.
And Rosangela, has the administration in any way, have they even recognized that you have demands? I mean, my understanding is that the hunger strike is the idea is to at the very least get the administration to sit down and begin negotiations, not necessarily to grant you all these things, but to begin negotiations. Have they even acknowledged that you have demands?
So on a public level, the administration has released emails without any mention of our demands or even our side of what's happening, no mention about the hunger strike. And we did recently get a meeting. The president agreed to a meeting, but it was extremely short in comparison to other universities. And in this meeting, some of our representative students kind of explained these demands and attempted negotiations, and there was just a lack of any type of acknowledgement that there's a genocide occurring, about our safety and well-being, and just our demands overall.
Yeah, the university has been sort of, there was a meeting with President Eisgruber with some of the organizers from the Divest campaign, but this meeting was not productive or serious or good faith on the part of the university administration. Essentially, students went in wanting to sort of, discuss seriously our sort of divestment campaign. And President Eisgruber merely responded saying that there are, certain processes and certain channels, and there needs to be consensus around campus. But, what's clear actually is that the university is going against precedent historically and in the present, because at other universities, there have been meetings that have actually been able to come to tangible agreements to start those processes. That has not happened here at Princeton. The negotiations have not been in good faith. And historically as well, what President Eisgruber is saying runs afoul of previous instances of divestment in Princeton's history. So for example, when it came to fossil fuel divestment or divestment from apartheid in South Africa, there wasn't actually consensus on campus. So this sort of retrospective attempt to make it seem like everyone needs to agree about divestment is just the university failing to take moral leadership and failing to care about its student well-being. Because we're hunger striking just to have a meeting, and they won't even give us a real meeting.
Rosangela,
they've also been lying about multiple things.
No. Go ahead. Before you get to that, how many students are? Can you hear us? How many students are on a hunger strike right now?
13.
13. And how many folks have you had at the encampment over the course of and how long has that the encampment been going on?
Well, people flow in and they're not all there at the same time. Sometimes due to a lot of things, but we've had really great turnouts. Maybe somewhere around 200 at our largest.
Yesterday, we also have a rally. We had a rally outside of Nassau Hall, which attracted over like 350 people.
Wow.
And importantly, also like even people who aren't the university has tried to make a threatening environment and made students feel as if they can't be at the encampment. But we know that on the broader campus, there's much wider support. For example, when the events at Clio Hall happened and Vice President Calhoun and the university administration tried to sort of slander the students involved in the sit-in by making them seem as if they were dangerous or reckless, there were so many cultural and affinity groups on campus that came out with letters condemning the administration. And if you added up all of those affinity groups, I bet you would have, a majority of the undergraduate population represented. So, and also faculty are increasingly coming and sort of voicing their concerns about what's happening. There was a faculty letter recently calling for VP Calhoun's resignation that got over 150 signatures. And also more and more faculty are joining us in solidarity fasts as part of the hunger strike. So, the hunger strike, the number of hunger strikers has varied because we're trying to make sure we're prioritizing people's health because, the university isn't keeping us safe, so we keep us safe. And, if people need to tap out, they're welcome to do that. At our peak, I think we had 18, 19 hunger strikers, and we've diminished from there. But, the thing that's been increasing continuously is the number of solidarity fasts we have, which are people who are agreeing to do 24-hour fasts alongside the hunger strikers. And, recently faculty announced a big initiative that there will be several faculty each day also engaged in solidarity fasts.
Can you, David, talk a bit more about the faculty as well, just because it's been inspiring to see around the country at these encampments faculty members linking arms with students and joining in solidarity versus the administration's characterization of a lot of these demonstrations, whether it be Columbia, Princeton, what have you, which makes it seem like there's a lot of hate going on. But to me, it's the educated and the educators coming against this administration in solidarity.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been very, fortunate to receive so much faculty support as the student organizers. And, one feature of the encampment has been that there's been consistent faculty presence, hosting lectures, hosting workshops and teach-ins to educate students. So, the space we're building here is not just about divestment. It's also about educating people on issues around Palestine and educating them on how the issue of Palestine connects to other liberation struggles as well. So, faculty have been amazing in sort of supporting those initiatives and giving, educational lectures, giving, sort of introducing students to much broader concerns. So, the beautiful thing about the encampment and the Popular University of Gaza is that we're not just building a sort of short-term push, we're building a long-term movement. And faculty are a big part of that. And
Rosangela, how was, have you gotten media attention within and without the university? Are you hearing from alumni? I'm just curious as to how far your message is carrying.
Yeah, we have a really crucial communications team who has been like so amazing in reaching out and um, yeah, kind of creating these connections with media outlets, YouTube channels, larger reporting, um, and then we've also had alumni reach out. Alumni have actually been to the camp and have stood in solidarity. We have alumni who are also doing the solidarity fast with us. So that's been a very important part of garnering support. Um, the on campus, um, the on campus newspapers have also been reporting on us daily. Yeah.
So, David, what is the plan going forward? I mean, is there, do you guys have a timeline, or is it, are you determined? I imagine the school year is ending soon. What happens next, and what do you anticipate the administration doing next?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the fact that, there was a meeting on Monday, no matter how unproductive, is a sign that there's increasing pressure on the administration to seriously respond to student demands. And so we're very hopeful that as the sort of hunger strike continues and as our encampment continues, that we'll be able to put increasing pressure. And, it is, of course, true that a lot of undergraduates will be leaving soon. But, the amazing thing about this encampment is it's not just students. It's been so many people who are committed to this movement and want to keep it going long term. So we have community members who are involved, people who live in the local area. We have faculty who are involved. We have alumni who are involved. So, rest assured, like, even if undergraduates take a step back, there's going to be people who step up and keep this going to make sure that Princeton knows that, not just the undergraduates, but the entire world will not stand for their complicity in genocide.
What can, and either one of you can answer this question, but what can our viewers, our listeners do to support what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is making sure to amplify what's happening here at Princeton. The university has consistently been trying to lie and characterize protesters and people involved in the encampment as unsafe. And we just need to make sure that people are pushing the narrative and making clear the truth that is not the case. That is actually them who is calling the police on students. It's them who's forcing students to starve themselves. The university is not going to respond, frankly, to morality. They're not going to respond to humanitarian concerns. What they are going to respond to is their bottom line and, impacts to their image. So we just need people consistently in the media, in their personal conversations on social media, shaming the university, shaming President Eisgruber, shaming VP Calhoun, shaming the Office of Public Safety, and making clear how people are not going to stand for what they're doing. And, also if people are interested, they're welcome to sort of contact all of these people. President Eisgruber's email is publicly available. His office's phone number is publicly available. So making those sort of calls, making those emails to show how strong a body of support there is for divestment and for the student movement is vital.
Rosangela, are there any social media handles or that your the Princeton University Gaza Solidarity Encampment is using at this point, where people can amplify where you guys are sending out videos or whatever it is?
Yes, we have a Princeton Divest Now Twitter and Instagram account. I can pull that up really quick unless you have it at the top of your head.
I think it's called Princeton Israeli Divest, something along those lines, but the tag is like at Princeton Divest Now.
We have that actually right there under our Chiron, so people can check that out on Instagram, but also on Twitter as well.
We will put links to both of those. Emma, do you have anything else, or?
No, I mean, just keep it up. It's awesome to see. Thank you guys for your amazing putting your bodies on the line to stop a genocide. It's inspiring to see.
Great work, guys. Stay in touch, and we will put links to all of those social media channels you have.